let's make some ribbons. First we need to create a new file, and I'm going to do 12 by 12 by 300 as the industry standard. I'm going to unlock my background layer and make a new layer, and now I need to choose my foreground and background colors because those are going to be the colors of my ribbon. I've opened a paper I made with the January colors for the designer challenge, and I'm going to choose a color, a lighter shade. Oh, let me see. How about, nope, that's still too dark. A lighter shade for the foreground color, and then I'm going to choose a darker shade out of my paper for the background color. And I'll minimize that paper. We're going to use it again later. I'm going to get my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm going to make a selection on my paper. Now the ribbon size is up to you. Ribbons come very thick or very thin, and since you're creating this on a 12 by 12 paper, you can just visualize a realistic size for a ribbon, and I actually want a thinner ribbon. And then I'm going to get my paint bucket and fill in my selection. Control D to deselect. Next, let's make some grosgrain lines on this ribbon. And in order to get them to go in the right direction, I'm actually going to need to rotate this layer, and so it's vertical. Go to the filter, sketch, half tone, and I already have some it looking right because I was playing with this earlier, but your default might be a line, and so you need to choose the dot. The default might be dot, so you want to choose the line pattern type and then move the sliders until you come up with something you like in contrast or size. You can do something different with every layout or with every ribbon you make. Just pick something that looks good, and for me I have this, and you can see as I zoom in now it's more like a grosgrain ribbon. I prefer working on this in the horizontal, so I'm going to change this back. Now if you had added the half tone while this was horizontal, your lines would have been horizontal on your ribbon, and that would have been fine. That's a great way to make a different look for your ribbon, give you some different ideas for different ways to do your ribbons. Next we're going to put a border on the layout or on the ribbon. I'm thinking one thing and saying another. Well, let's add a new layer for our border. I'm going to switch the foreground and the background colors because now I want to use the darker color. I'm going to choose a brush tool. Any hard brush would work. This 19 would give a thicker edge. I think I'm going to go this time for the 13. And lower the opacity some to your ribbon because you're going to want this border. Lower the opacity to your brush because you're going to want this border to show through. Hold down your Shift key and just draw a line across your page. Go up and add a simple inner bevel if you wanted. Let's zoom in so we can see this better. You can change the size of your bevel to something you like. I think the default was about 21, and that looks good, but I think for this one I'm going to drop it down around 9. It doesn't matter, whatever you prefer. The wider brush you use, the different size bevel that you may need. And now I'm going to make sure you don't want this bevel to be out here on the outside, because remember it's has an opacity to it, and then that would just show through to whatever's underneath it on your layout. And so make sure that this bevel lines up directly to the edge of your ribbon. Duplicate the layer and bring it down to match the bottom. And you can leave your ribbon like this. You now have a completed ribbon. But let's do some more fun things with it. Let's make this ribbon wavy. So I'm going to create a new layer above all my other layers. And for to make this a wavy ribbon, we're going to need to use a gradient. And for this gradient, whatever your foreground color is what the default setting is for the gradient. And so I'm going to hit D and X to make this foreground color white, because that's what I'm going to start with. Choose my gradient tool. Then in this flyout menu, I'm going to go down to Special Effects, which is going to bring up these gradients, and I'm going to choose this one here, the second one, called Soft Stripes, and you can see it's white. Now I need to make a selection of my ribbon, so I'm going to hold down the Control key and click on the thumbnail of the layer to get those marching ants around my original layer. And then I'm going to make my new layer the active layer and just draw a line across, and you'll see it's added the gradient. I can Control D to deselect for right now. Then you can go up and play with the blending modes. This one is multiply, which makes a nice ribbon, but I can change it to linear burn, makes it look like a much deeper wave. You can just play with them all. I kind of like the way the overlay looks, or the soft light looks. But if I were to use that, I'd probably then lower the opacity. You just keep playing until you find something you like. Ooh, that one don't look too good. Ooh. Ugh. I kind of like the way the linear burn one looks, but I would lower the opacity to it. Now I'll show you something else though. You can change this to any color. If I chose some kind of gray color, and I did the same thing. Let me turn off that wave, and now you can see that my gradient's turned to gray, and you can run that across your ribbon and change the blending modes, and you will even get different ooh, that one don't look good. You'll get different effects. If I wanted to, I could go back and get one of the colors directly from my ribbon and make, where's my marching ants? There they are. And make a gradient with that color, and then play with the blending modes. There it is without any blending mode at all. And just play until you ooh, ack. It's fun to see what things that you can get, fun surprises, and just play till you get something that looks realistic. Now I'm going to show you how you can use your papers that you've already created to make ribbons. I'm going to go back and get this paper that I made, and I'm going to drag it into my file, bring it on down here to the original layer, right above the original ribbon layer, and I'm going to I can use my selection tool and simply make a selection of this paper and hit Control J and make a ribbon out of that. But since I already have a ribbon size here and I want to go back and play later, I'm just going to hit Control G to make it into that shape. And voila, I have a ribbon with my borders. I can make it wavy, play with different colors, make a border to match whatever papers that you stick in there. There are two ways then you can use this to put the grosgrain on it. I can take my original paper layer and simply make it an overlay, and you'll see it has lines in it. Or let's hit undo. Let's turn off the background and rotate the entire thing, all the layers, vertical, and once again run the halftone layer on my paper. And then you can for this particular paper I don't like the way that looks as well, but that is certainly another way. For this particular paper I prefer seeing it with the overlay. So I look forward to seeing all of your ribbons. Have fun playing. Be sure to load them up to 4Shared or another account so that you can share with everybody your results. And if you find a new technique to add to this, please share with everybody so that we can all learn together.